Good morning. Today's the Menachem. We're going into the month of Menachemov. The father is Menachem, his children. So I want to do three questions that have a shaykhus and a connection, and questions that I received recently that are connected to the 3 weeks and specifically to the 9 days. And the first was someone asked me about a tshuva from the Rebbe connected to a bashert. And it's very relevant to shidduchim issues today in the frum world, in the frat, and a Chabad, b'miyuchad. So let's get to the first thing first, and then the other two questions that I recently got about the Sheilos have to do with the 3 weeks. It says in the Shulchan Aruch, Erechaim, shenichnas av ematem b'simcha. So we know the Chassidus Svarim, the Meirinaim says that when Av goes in, and we decrease in the negative stuff through increasing in Simcha. Okay. But that's the din. The din is it's a Poel Mamish, and there's a whole list of things, and one of them is Ein Noisim Noshim, Ein Noisim Sudas Edison. You can't make music and dancing connected with the Edison. And as the Mishabura said, points out that any music and any dancing is also, and therefore Minig Yisrael is also with a video or a tape, not to have any music or any dancing. But to make a Edusin without a Suda is mutter. They're allowed to do the Edusin on the day of Tisha B'Av. Why? Because otherwise someone else might grab the girl. The minig is not only then the 9 days, but also in the 3 weeks. How could someone ask like bashert? Yeah, everything bashert. You know, when people are running a business, they don't say bashert. There's a shidduchim say it's bashert. We have problems. Look what's going on today in the frum world. Look what's going on in Lubavitch. It's a bizoyin for Bas Yisrael. Everyone knows what the problem is. But no one wants to work in it, and everyone says it's bashert. When they're trying to pay the bills at the end of the month, they're not saying bashert. Everything they're not saying bashert. They're coming. When other people are suffering, it's bashert. Okay. So let's look into this bashert.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Bisman Gemara, they had a separation between the Kedushin and the Nesuim.
Right.
And so, Kedushin and Edison is the same thing, just different words.
Right.
When they're learning Gemara.
Right.
Now, this here is from Shulchan Aruch, right?
Right. It means the same. Means what the Gemara. It means the Eidus, and it means that they have Mekudesh asleep.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait, but by the time of Shulchan Aruch was still like that.
The Gemara, we quote the din the way it is in the Gemara.
Oh, okay. I understand. The reason I'm saying is because today, in modern Hebrew, Erusin means to get engaged.
No.
So I thought maybe that's the Indian Tisha B'Av Shaloi Yakim Menacheh. It's the.
But that would also be true. That would also be true, but that's not what the Shulchan Aruch means.
That's not what it means. Okay.
Right.
It means Mamish Kedusha.
Yeah.
You're married. That's it. Okay.
Isa b'Gemara Matot-Masei. The Gemara, there's two main Gemaras in this, and there's another 6-7 Gemaras, but these two main Gemaras, and then we'll do an unbelievable tshuva from the Rebbe about the concept of bashert. There was a time there was a thing called Kovitz Lubavitch. Just like today you have online Ask the Rabbi, Stump the Rabbi, there's all kinds of websites. That was a Kovitz, you can ask any question and the editorial board would answer, but there was only one person that was on the board and was doing all the work. That was the Rebbe, was doing it for his father-in-law. People sent in all kinds of questions, some of them were regular and some of them were quite weird, unusual questions, but the Rebbe always answered with quite alumnus. So someone wrote in a letter asking about bashert. So first I just want to go through the two main Gemaras about bashert, and then the tshuva from the Rebbe about the story of bashert. You're allowed to do a Eidus in the Chalamoyed. By the way, this halacha, the Tur that Rabbi Nissim learns from from Chalamoid. Just like Chalamoid, it's also to get married. But the Gemara says it's mutter. That's the same thing on the when it comes to the 9 days or the 3 weeks. Toshma. Anyway, Gemara continues.
We hold like that?
Right? Yeah.
If you get married in the 9 days, family, what's the whole thing?
If it's cute, Shemiyak the Menawachim.
If we're worried about Shamiyach or Bechlal, it's cool because maybe Shamiyach.
No. It's mutter. No, it's mutter.
But wait,
But it has to be without a suda. Who wants to do it without a suda?
But wait, this is the Mechaber, right?
Yeah. The Ramah agrees.
The Ramah agrees.
The
But
Ramah
how
agrees.
come in Israel, the Rabbanot, they would close the 3 weeks till Rabbi Avad Yosef came and he said you have to be open because we don't have this minute, the 3 weeks, the Sfardim, no?
Because the Sfardim don't have the 3. The Sfardim have it only for the 9 days.
Right.
But
so that means, according to the Ramah, you can't do it.
you could do it even on Tisha B'Av without a suda. Who wants to make you saw in Israel a couple is going to come and make a wedding without a suda?
Oh, you're saying it's a practical thing, but it's not.
Right.
The Halacha, you're allowed, even
You're allowed.
Ashkenazim.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't aware. I didn't realize.
First marriage. You could do everything. You could do everything. Elamai, well, not the Edison. The Sheilos, the chuppah is called Edison or Nazuya. Anyway, Lamaisa, no one wants to make a wedding without a suda, but the din is the din.
But didn't they often have a Suda at a different time or
Yeah,
later
no
on
problem.
during the
Do it at a
day
different
or
time. No
night?
problem. After the 9 days. But I don't think anyone wants to do that. But if you want to do that, you could do that. Again, Isa b'Gemara Mayit Kot Amashmul Mutal Oretz Isha B'Chavod Shechel Shalmoyet Shemik Menach. You're allowed to do a Edison. Why? Because we're scared that someone else will grab the woman. Toshma, the Tanya, Dvei, Shmuel, the Marsov, like Koinsin. You could do Edison, but you can't do the Nesuyin. They know it's a Suda Edison, but you can't make a Suda. You could do Edison, but without a Suda. But like Miyabim, Shishim Chiloi. Shema Menom, you have a Shmuel. Frag Gemara, Shmuel says something. Shemi Yagdimena Acher, V'Omer Yehuda, Shmuel. B'Chol Yom B'Yem Baskal Yitzes V'Em Bas Pliny LePliny Soda Pliny LePliny. There's a Baskal that says that this boy belongs to this girl belongs to this boy. El Shemi Yagdimena Acher Berachimim. You can't grab the girl away from the other boy, but he could have a tefillah, and with that he's going to be able to grab the girl. Sorry, the words are so small, but the policy is that whatever I can put on one page, we learn in the morning. So there was what can I do? So I figured out I'll just squeeze it to very small. I can put it all on one page.
Make it double sided.
I decided no more.
Stand margin.
Exactly.
Couldn't you do it on the other page, on the other side?
He said he was davening that he wants that girl should be willing to marry him. Don't ask such a thing. If she is meant for you, she won't go away from it. Don't worry, she'll agree to marry you if she's meant for you. And if she's not meant for you and you're going to pray for it, Kafart Hashem, you're going to end up having kfira because you're going to say, I prayed so hard and Hashem didn't answer my prayer. Later you heard the guy praying and saying, that he was praying that one of them should die. Either he should die or she should die. Rashi says that he said, at least if I won't marry the girl, I don't want to see her marrying someone else. So she should die. Amar Loi, so Rabbi said, you see how crazy you're becoming? And didn't I tell you to stop agonizing over the issue? That from the Torah that the Eivishter decides which woman God is married to which man. The Gemara brings that from Psukim. I just said the Gemara according to Rashi's Pshat. Huh?
Usually people make that statement when they're married.
So all the Mefarshim say Takazoi, that he got married and it was such a bad marriage that he was praying that one of them should die. So Rabbi said, you see, I told you. Yeah, you wanted to afka this girl. You got the girl you wanted, and now you're davening that for this. So really, that the Mefarshim say it depends. There's the Rashi in Argamon and the Rashi and the Riv. They're very different pshatim. Rashi in our Gemara says that yeah, other person could be makdim berachimim, but what does it mean? He could be makdim. No one's going to marry this girl. It's just that if you're not going to marry her quickly, maybe someone else will pray that she should die, which is like very harsh. The Mefarshim will ask, "Wow, this is like wow, this is crazy." So the other Mefarshim, and then Rashi and the Rif himself, which might have made Rashi, by the way, says no. The pshat is that it's shayich that someone else will marry her because he begs the Eibishter. Elamai, that zivug is not going to be oile yofa, to the extent that this other guy is going to be so bitter in the marriage that whatever. Anyway, the marriage is not going to work out, and she'll get divorced, and she'll end up marrying the right guy. These are two basic pshatim in the Gemara, and based on this, we'll soon see the 8 shittas in the concept of bashet. One more Gemara. Gemara Soita, Amar Shmuel, Bar Rabbi Yitzchak, Ke'ava Pasach v'Shlokish beSoita. Whenever the Shlokish started learning the Gemara Soita, Amar Hachi, it's the beginning of Gemara Soita. And Bezavgan Elisha Elo Lafi Marsov, that a woman that is a shidduch for a man based on his maisim. If he's zoicher, he has maisim tov and he gets a good wife. Otherwise, he gets a not such a good wife. So the shevet teresha will never come to Gerel Tzaddik. The tzaddik will always get a good wife, and the rasha will get a wife that he deserves.
How about for the woman?
No?
This is
Probably
for the guy.
probably the same thing. Probably the same thing. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yochanan. The koshel is avgin kikriyas yamtzav. It's very hard to put them together. It's as hard as kriyas yamtzav. Shenem alakim moshe v'yechidim b'aisem moitzik yasinim b'kasharis. Eini v'omer Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rav Arboim Yoim Kod Mitzvah Savlad Baskol Yotzes v'Meres Bas Ploni LePloni Bayis Ploni LePloni Yisod Ploni LePloni. It's a little bit different. Before we said B'chol Yoim, and here it's Arboim Yoim Kod Mitzvah Savlad. Yeah. Anyway, but there's a certain baskel that says which girl belongs to which boy. The Gemara like Kasha B'Ziv Gedishin B'Ziv Ksheni depends on B'Ziv Gedishin and B'Ziv Ksheni.
In other words, Zivik Rishon is Baskol,
And Zivik Ksheni is Lefi Maisa.
Is Kasha. Well,
Right. The Sheinav is Lefi Maisa, and that's why it's very kosher. Yes. So the Tosfos asks, why can't the first Gemara also answer that the depends of the Gedishin of Ksheni? That some Tzaddik says, many Mefarshim answer similar to this. That from the Mishnah it sounds like you're always allowed to do the Eidus and Machayla Shalmoid, an extension in the 9 days, and there's no difference between Zivik Gedishin and Zivik Sheni. Therefore, he says no, that makes no difference. Zivik Gedishin and Zivik Sheni. There's always Shayach the Yagdimenu Acher Berachimim. It doesn't matter Zivik Gedishin and Zivik Sheni. That someone else could chaperayim before him, and therefore Chazal said, you know what? We're not going to let you make a Seudah and music, but if you want to do Eidus without Nesuyim, without music, without a Seudah, we'll allow you to do that. Because you know someone else could grab the girl before you through asking a Racham Madei Eibishter. Now that we have the two basic Gemaras, so there's a lot of Madroshim and the Zoyas, but these are like the two basic Gemaras. The one is that both Gemaras say that there is a baskel that goes out, either it's every day or for Arboim Yom Kohen says Sabarat, and both Gemaras say that it's a very difficult thing to make a shidduch, which is like all these things don't add up. And then the one Gemara is that the person could grab the girl, even though this girl belongs to this boy, but he can grab her earlier because he's going to ask Rachman B'dei Eibishter. And the other Gemara makes a difference between Zivik Gedishin and Zivik Sheni. Zok the Rebbe in a letter.
What the same one said before,
We say that someone could be Makdim Berachman, which is a kapella. What's going on? So the Igris Kodesh is in Chelik Beis. As I said, this is published really in Kovitz Lubavitch. The Rebbe used to publish was I think a monthly publication, and the editorial board always answered questions that people wrote in. That was the truth from the Rebbe really. And here was one of the questions that people had, that someone asked, was about what is the concept of Basher. And I bring here the whole thing. I just took out at the end a little bit of Kabbalah. But the Nigla part, I just cut and paste them. Achai Baruch Hashem, I have it on the, what's it called? So I was able to cut and paste it. Shalom u'brachim. Mein al Sheilos v'zeu toichna. Matzosim achloikes binyan azivugim. Shlevedas achoyker miyeshu zeh v'chira chofshes. Shlevedas amekobolim hu b'gzeira. V'sheilosi eiche achroz teres achsidus b'zeh. What does Achsidus have to say about this? Mashra makam kames b'divra l'kimchaim shenyan zeh b'gzeira. V'kem al polis ishtadlus. Zorak asis kliv al bosher b'teva. If it's a gzeira from the Eibishter, so why is the person has to be mishtadel to work hard to make the shidduch? Is it like a keli like you do for business? That's the question the person is asking. You know, let's say I'm mechtov mekemesh shamotzas kol anal, gam lazocher chiluk mishtei shitas anal, mochalachtem gufe, sheshelos rishen nagas aloch lemaisa, and this kvar adim bepoiskim, v'ove batzos ashitim aveli vur kol anal. Yeah. Minin azivugim in bechira chofshim zem lagamri v'miktzas eklaloi. What is how does a shidduch work? Is it totally the free will? Is it a little or totally? No bechira chofshis in it. Metzinu was a kama chilukim v'shita, u'machlolis misodim heim v'tloim ba'ifim pirish razal moed kotten soita. Also Sanhedrin Bababasa. Sanhedrin Bababasa is really kamat the same as the Gemara soita. And there's Breishis Rabbah and there's a Zoyar. There is 3 main Zoyars, and then there's a Medrash Tilim. Okay, v'shitas b'zeh. What are the shittas? 8 shittas. Number 1. 8 shittas doesn't mamash mean 8 shittas, but there's 8 thoughts that go into it. It really comes down to maybe like 4 shittas. But there's 8 Gedolei Yisrael Rishonim that talk about this. Number 1. Baskel Gezeres Bas Ploini LePloini. Ve'en Achem Acher Ma'ilim. The Baskel says which girl married which boy, and it doesn't help for someone else to daven. Maybe someone else could marry her for a short time. He's never even going to be with her. He's never going to sleep with her. That shidduch will dissolve. They won't even sleep together. That's the Sefer Chassidim. Why should we make a whole complication between the Sugis and the Gemara? The Parsha, the Sefer Chassidim was talking about Zivug Rishon because Zivug Shena, the Gemara says, is Lefi Marsov. So in Zivug Rishon, we say that the person there's a destiny for one boy to marry one girl. So for this girl to marry this boy, Elamai, it could be that the person begs Rachmanas and he'll marry this girl, but the shidduch won't last. It won't even last as much that they'll even be together for one be'ilah. Second shit, Tfilas Achem Me'ela, she's enemy Valena. They will live, Shaykh that someone should daven and marry the girl, and they should live together regular like husband and wife. Aval Soif Mizgeresha, so he makes Ba'alav Nisla Ben Zuga. That's according to the first Pirush of the Riyah Zulai on the Ran and Moed Kod. Third Shitta is Baskel Gezeres, Aval Tfilu Yochel Avat like Zera Lagamri. That's the Rashi and the Rifim Moed Kod. And Medalo Pirush Ein El Zman. Rashi just says it that way, that the Tfilu can be Mavatal Gezere. And that's similar to what the Tosfos says in Sanhedrin of Chambeza Medal, the Medamal Alafichas Azach Avlad Mezochel and the Kevet Lagamri Avet. The Tosfos and Soita says is that just like within 40 days a person could pray that the baby should turn around from a nekeva to a zochor, the same thing a person could daven for the shidduch to change. So there is a gzeira l'maylo, a person could be mevatel the gzeira. So these 3 shittas is 1, 2, 3. It's on one line. One says that you could daven, but the other person is going to marry her. It'll be 3, 4 days. It'll be a short thing. It's going to dissolve. The second is daven. They'll live together for many years, but there won't be too much nachas of that shidduch. Eventually, it'll dissolve. And the third shit is no. He could daven, and he'll marry the girl, and everything will change. All the gzeira l'mayla will change, and they'll live happily ever after. And the first guy will stay in the freezer for the rest of his life. That's the 3 shittas, 1, 2, 3. Then there's another issue, B'chlal. The Rebbe says as if it's a 4th shitta, but it's another issue. Dalad is Bechira Chofshis Ilisa Eloi. Marriage is not a destiny; it's a bechira. A person is not forced to marry. A person could decide to marry. A person could decide not to marry. It's a bechira chafshis in the person. In bocher lisa, then nigzer ma'abaskel shi'abas ploini. A person has a bechira to marry, not to marry. But if he decided to marry, then there is a gzeida from the baskel who should be the wife. So it's a bechira chofshet to get married, not. But if he should, once he decides to get married, there's a baskel. Again, could someone else be makdem berachman? So yeah, the person could be makdem berachman. 5. Baskel yoitzes einin shel gzeira. Rak netir metzad hateva. Very interesting thing. When we say a baskel that says that this boy will marry this girl, it's not a gzeira from the Eibishter. It's telling you what's the teva. Shemetzad teva toldosei korev and nekolo shivche v'vas plenim. It's a teva shalo and teva shaloi aval abchira chofshes b'zeh. According to this, if you should get married or not is your bechira, and also which two people is also you date. You see, the baskel is only to say that to tell the malachim you should know, just information purposes. You should know that these there are various groups of people. So you know this group of people could go. These boys could go with these girls. They show this one boy and this one girl. That's match made in heaven. That's gewaltig. What's the pshat match made in heaven? Not the pshat that in heaven it was made. The malachim know that the teva of this man and this woman, kafta v'ferech, it's a hand and a glove. If these two get together, it'll be gewaltig. It'll be a sweet marriage. But no one's forcing the boy to marry the girl. No one's forcing them to. They have no gzeira. They should get married, and who should get married to is also no gzeira. It's only that the baskel tells you which man and woman are most sugepast. Hine lefi Peter said the bas plain lekoin mitzad korvosam mitzad tevet toldosam. If that's the case, that's the shit of the Rambam. I mean, you know, you expect the Rambam, the rationalist, to come up with the shita, right? So this is the shita in the Shmoina Prokim, and the Rebbe asks, I don't understand. If that's the case, what difference does it make Zivik Gedish and Zivik Sheni? Like, why should there be a difference? You're telling me that everything is Bechira. To marry, not to marry, it's up to you. Who to marry? Up to you. The Baskel just predicts which is the best, which boy and girl are the best. They got together good. So what's the difference of Gedish and Zivik Sheni?
The Baskel is for whom?
For the Malachim to know if they date.
The Malachim.
Yeah, the Malachim should know which if they see them dating.
Why the Malachim care?
Yeah, they like it's good. It's it's good information to have. Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to come to the Chasana?
Yeah, something like that.
What's the question of the original?
If he's saying that there's no gzeira here, the bechira to get married or not, and also the baskel is only telling you the teva. So why it sounds like in the Gemara but Zivik Rishon there's a baskel, Zivik Sheni there is no baskel. Why should there be a difference? No, it could be the teva they should get married to a woman and she's so good pass, or for whatever reason they got divorced, and then he found another woman that Beteva these two people get a match up. I mean, why should there be a difference at Zivik Gedish and Zivik Sheni? If you're telling me that the baskel is nothing but predicting or telling you Beteva which two people go together, so why should it be a difference in Zivik Gedish and Zivik Sheni?
It's possible for a person to lose.
Why? According to the Rambam, yeah. Why? That's what the Rebbe is asking. Why not? Why not? You tell me nothing to do with neshamas, nothing zaydas, nothing no two halves of one whole, none of that, none of the above. Just these two people are probably going to get along very good. They'll figure things out. So what's the difference of Gedish and Zivik Sheni? So the Rebbe says
before the Rabbeinu Gershom, so how this will fit us? It means to marry 2 or 3 women.
It's the same thing. Which combination will work and which won't work? Lomar Amar Razal the Zivik Sheni lefi Maisa. The Yesh Lomar the Matzav that Teva Yitzarich Li Yitzis Baskel Gam Zivik Sheni. You can answer Zok the Rebbe that according to the Rambam there should be a Baskel also for the Zivik Sheni. Kol Matzad Indian the Schar V'Onish Nishdad HaTeva Ve'im is Davgin El lefi Maisa. Yesh Lahamis Zeh B'Loshna Rambam Mitzvos over the Tajbetz. The Rebbe says if you look closely in the Loshna Rambam the way it's brought in the Tajbetz you will find this concept there. אלו שבתחילה גם בזיווג שני צריך להחליט בבחירות עם חופץ לאישה כי בזה לא שייך הכרח מלמעלה כי יש עניין של מצווה וגם בזיווג שני וגם אם כבר קיים מצווה ביהודי וכלא יתהיה בעצם לבדי that there's a mitzvah so there's no הכרח מלמעלה. If he should get married the zivug sheni is but in other words that in the zivug sheni the pshat is like this, the way the Rebbe understands the Rambam Shita, that in Zivuk Sheni they say, you know what? The Eibusher says now it's going to be based on reward, on the reward. In other words, a Malmaila there's a special intervention. But they don't intervene. let the boy and girl go out. They like each other. They match up. They don't match up. But Bezivuk Sheni, there is a special person that was that put in a lot of effort, and he's Yochanan. And he got married, and Nebuch didn't work out. So Malmaila, they put in a little extra thing for him that he should end up with a good shidduch. It's a special reward, Malamaila. Or the opposite, a person that got married, there should have been a good marriage. And he had to gedreit the woman the kishkes ahin and tzadik until they got divorced. And now he said, okay, I'm ready to get married a second time. So they say, Lamaila, you know what? You know what? Yeah, you know what? We'll give you, we'll that I got I pack. That's special for you, okay. That's shitta number 6. Shitta number 5. Shitta number 6. Everything has to do with the maisim of a person. And based on the person's maisim, that's what the type of woman he gets. That's Akeda. He was a Makubal, the base of Alba. He says the Baskel is talking about the which neshama goes with which goof, nothing to do with the husband and wife. Number 7 is a Piyamavur Bekisve Arizal. The Arizal has a very interesting shitta.
He changes the Lashon HaGemara, or you just Vatayiches it?
Vatayiches it all differently, exactly. And how he ends up teaching La Halacha.
That's Albo from the Ikram?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought he was a Chayker.
I know. Yeah, he was a Shtikla Makubal too, yeah. Apia Mavur, Bekisve Arizal, the Rizal has a move b'yayvetz l'soita. The yayvetz brings it in the Gemara soita. The Pama Aleph Shabana Shamal Olam Bas Kol Yotzes Meres Bas Plain on the plane. The Rizal adds so many new dimensions, and your head goes spinning. First of all, he says that the Bas Plain on the plane is to do with the Zivug Rishon. I'm sorry, with the Gilgul Rishon. Most neshamas today is the Gilgul Sheni. So as we'll see soon, in the second Gilgul, to find your right Zivug is harder than the first Gilgul. So 500 years ago was easier to find Shidduchim. As we're getting closer to Mashiach...
Because they danced that you go up, it was very easy.
Exactly. It was very easy because the Gilgul Rishon, it's very clear. Bas Plani Leploini Yandik. It's very, very easy. See the girl one time, they're dancing Yandik to him. And he says, where do you come from? Where do I come from? Oh, yeah, so sure, let's get married. Live happily ever after. But now that they say he comes down because he wasn't mashlim his avodah. So yes, his neshama has to come out a second time. But who says she? She was mashlim her avodah. But he has to get married at Afavayim. So now we're at Gahak Teheri. Now we don't know what to do. So let's go into Zayin. Apiyah Mavur Bekisve Arizal. The Pama Aleph Shabana Shamal Olam. The first time the neshama, the first Gilgul Bas Koil Yotzes Vim Bas Plain on the planet. It comes a time in the marriage, skip the brackets. One second, like you said, he sees her dancing, and they get married. Sometimes he's not zeiche. And taka oz v'yochel ancher she'en lo ben zug lakdime berachim, and someone else can be magna berachim. Omnom. Sometimes he's not zoicha, and he doesn't find his bazug. So if your best option is to marry the woman which is meant for you, but if not, so okay. So the second best is lefi ma'isa. However, third option is lepalm teschalaf neshama mosay meral teva lahepach v'yavid bazuga v'yikach acheres lefi she'en zeish riston. Sometimes his neshama changes. You can go up or you can go down. And then the zivugim change because he's not the same person. And these are the three options. This is in the first gilgul. Sometimes the person comes on a second gilgul, like most neshamas we says brought in Spartam today are not the first gilgul. It's the second, the third, or fourth. Now, who is he going to marry? So they do him a favor. They go to the woman and say, you know what? Nebuch, your husband's got to go down already. This is the 10th time he's got to go down. She says, no, what do you want from me? I say, can you do me a favor? He's got to come down the 10th time in this world. He's going to marry the wrong woman. This guy is going to come down 100 times in this world. You do me a favor. Could you be in this galgal a second time? The woman says, okay, fine. I'm coming down a second time. Coming down a second time. But now, because it's the second gilgul, it could be harder for them to find each other. In the first gilgul, Bas Plain and Liploini, they find each other in a second. Unless the guy is a real yukul and he messes up, and then it's Lifi Maisef, or even worse, that he's a yukul and he did terrible things and his neshama changes. But the second gilgul, even if the girl comes down, it could be harder to find her. Why does he have to be mizgalgal? Because he's lacking in the first time. So therefore, there's mekating. And that's why it's hard like kriyas yamsov. What's if the bazug says, no, I'm sorry, I'm in Gan Eden. Listen, that guy didn't do his job. When we were living together 500 years ago, I told him every morning, I woke him up, come on, wake up for Shachar. So I get puffed. I used to tell him, you can invite him to 25 Archim Friday night. He came home with one oida. What should I do? I'm in Gan Eden now. What do you want from me? So they say to her, okay, fine, you stay in Gan Eden. So what do they do for him? They find two odd a woman and a man. His zivug is in Gan Eden, her zivug is in Gan Eden. So they put the two together. There has to be that these two neshamas have some shorish together, but still it's difficult because they're not mamash a hand in a glove. That if the option 1 and option 2 doesn't work, option 1 is that his real zivuk comes out. Option 2 is that his zivuk from at least from the same shayrish. Option 3 is taki chaps any woman, but it could work. Okay. These are.
The point is, it would seem that every person has a match. Every person has a. Unfortunately, don't get married.
So that's why we had before.
Oh,
the person has bechida. He has a bechida to get married or not to get married. If he'll get married, then but to talk with the zivuk. He has bechida to get married. So these are the 6 shittas. So Memes is the 7th shittas. I mean, they're not all in the same. There's several issues that we're talking about. Number 1 is, do you have bechira chavshis or not? Second issue is there a yagdimenu acher? What does it mean yagdimenu acher? Does it mean that totally he can break the thing, or only for a while, or for a very short while? And then you have the Arizal, which has all this elaborate thing about Gilgulishin, the Gilgul Sheni, and so on. However, the Rebbe says that what's the bottom line we learn from this? The Chola Zivugim Yochel Acher like Dimai. V'nifseka halocha l'maisa the b'chaloifim sheyiyah ma'artzim noshem mechela shalamoyed, and also in the 9 days metamza v'meila yesh makom l'shtarmus. A person has to put in as a full effort. A person can't say it's a bashert. It's a tragedy today. This is in the yeshivish world and also in Lubavitch. You have. So I remember when we had the yeshiva here. I told you this. I used to always tell the bochum, you could do smicha and you could date at the same time. Bochum always thought it's a joke. I remember one bochum was saying his grandmother's a shatcha, and she says it's a boys' market.
That's by the.
And unfortunately, Lubavitch is saying,
He has a tiny, he wants to improve his Marsov.
Exactly. But
He wants to go up. He doesn't want the zivug that he's.
he wants to go up. But it could never be as good as the zivug that you're destined for. Elamai, people could ruin things. People could ruin things. Yeah.
What if you bypass everything on the days? Go to the side of the town, please leave it as a shirt.
In the Chidduch Hofshis. How could a person do that? Tzaddikim won't do that. Tzaddikim won't do that because you don't play around with such things.
They could see it.
Yotzim and Aklal.
But they could lead you in a certain way.
Lead you maybe. Yeah, brocha.
He did a block. So you can have a lead to it.
I don't know.
We should get married at 18. Why are we waiting till 20, 21?
We didn't have the other choice, but
I can try to make it as early as possible, but it's hard to change all my Bereshis in a day.
I mean, they have arranged marriages in some communities.
Right.
Arranged marriages. They're absolutely there's no bechira.
I just want to say this. I once tried to suggest a shidduch. So, I just want to make this in the kudah. Everyone is busy. Everyone has a lot of things to do. I think it's a mitzvah Rama v'nisot to every person sitting around the table. When you think of a shidduch, not to put it in the back of your head. It would have been a nice thing. Pas ploying with ploying. To suggest it, make it pick up on the phone. If all of us are always going to try to make shidduchim, it will help. It will help. Every time you see a boy, a girl, it could be a zivik rishon, it could be a zivik sheni. Always try. You never know. You try to be matzia. That's our part. And also for the people that need the shidduchim, is not to be stubborn. Not to be stubborn. I want to tell you a story. There was a boy. I tried to be matzia. The mother, one shidduch, another shidduch. There was one shidduch that we really thought that it was really a very nice shidduch. So the girl is really tzukipas of the boy. So the mother says, "Nah, we know the family. These two families. We're so good. My son could do much better. That bocha today is not a Shema Torah mitzvah, and that girl is not married out there in Marsov. What happened? I just want to tell you the mitzvahs. This boy dated. B'li guzma. I mean, I know I'm getting resume calls. I got for this bocher. How many calls did I get? B'li guzma, 50 girls. He probably dated half of those girls that I got a phone call for. So he dated 25 girls. B'li guzma klal. His mother's aiming high. It's a boy's market, right? But the girl is not for him. The girl is nisht. The husband has to be able to give, has to have something to give. The woman has to be able to take, and it wasn't shaykh. It's not a friendship. The marriage, a marriage is a certain arrangement. The husband is mashpia, the woman is a makabel. It wasn't shaykh. So he was a sweet boy, and he was going out. And before the shira, it was very painful, and his Torah mitzvahs went sliding. And today he's not Torah mitzvahs. So it's when a person goes, everyone understands that when it comes to parnasa, that we have to make a ishtadlus. There's a beautiful maimer teglachas metzoida from the Tzemach Tzedek. He says that a person has to make a ishtadlus. Unless you're a big tzaddik and you have big schlusim, you have to go into a business or go into a trade that b'derech hamimutza, that whatever your expenses are, that you could do well. You can't say I'm a big tzaddik, so I'm gonna do a business that no one's making a nickel and a dime today, but it's basher, it's from the Eibishter.
Selling ice.
I'll sell ice, exactly.
It's Eskimos.
So no, you can't do that. You have to do an asik that you're mishayer, that based on your expenses, that and then the Eibishter. But to do more, that Tzemach Tzedek says, it's like a person is going to say, this pair of pants are so nice, let me have another 2 inches, another 4 inches, another 6 inches. It's nice choyda. Let me have bigger pants. You're going to trip on your pants. More is not kedai, but less is also not kedai. The Eibishter says you have to be mishtadel to do. It's the same thing here with shidduchim. You don't have to go crazy, but every family has to be realistic. Every person has to be realistic about what their needs are. What are my basic needs that I need in the shidduch, and what is the ikar and what is the tafel? That is the people that are receiving the shidduch and matzos, and for the rest of us to put in the effort to try to be matzir shidduchim. the Rebbe shall help him, that when we all make a ishtadlus, that there will be, that everyone in Klal Yisrael will find their right zivug, especially before Mashiach comes. We have to finish up, we have to wrap up the last birurim. One more little point here, which is a just beautiful point for people that are holding at a zivug sheni. You always think the Gemara says zivug rishon is that's the real one, the two halves of one whole. Zivug sheni, okay, so shelefi ma'isa. But there's a beautiful nakud in the Chassidus for those that are on their second one. It's nish gefährlich. So look here. Aderech avoid is board inyan zivug rishon v'zivug sheni v'chilukim b'dibar maschal anoichi. The Achron Pesach Eter, Makol Savir, the Zivug Rishon Malamaylo Inyan Esarus de Laila, Shekoidim Esarus de Latata. Zivug Rishon Esarus de Laila comes from the Eibishter. It's very nice. However, that's Gula Rishona. Zivug Sheni is Lefi Maisov. So he says Esarus de Laila, Sheachir Esarus de Latata. That's Gula Acharoina. Unbelievable, beautiful, sweet nugget for those that are in a Zivug in the. So I would say like this for those that are in Zivug Rishon, as we see here, a person could ruin things. So just like a person could ruin everything in life, so just because Baruch Hashem you're in a good marriage, don't try to ruin it. Work on it. Make sure it goes good. And those that are in the Zivug Sheni, don't despair, because it's the inyan of Yisarus Leila, Shachir Yisarus Lelatata, Bebichas L'Alta, L'Tshuva L'Alta, L'Gula, the Rebbe's Chassidus. Two quick Sheilos. I got a Sheilah. Someone asked.
Rabbi?
Yeah.
Before you move on, since we're talking about Zivug Rishon Shivik Sheni, by Yaakov and Rachel and Leah, is there a discussion, since he was going to marry Rachel, that was his lechatchila, but Lavan pulled a whole trick on him, so he married Leah first, and then he married Rachel. Is there a discussion?
I don't know. I hear.
Is Rachel the Zivug Rishon because that's who he wanted to marry, but Lamaisa, since he married Leah first, that was the Zivug Rishon. Is there a discussion on that?
I don't know. Good question. That's a good question.
It was no Cherem the Rabbeinu Gershom. Maybe both of them was a Zivug Rishon.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Two more questions.
Huh?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I think this is the main thing out of this whole tshuva is that it should give a service to every person, not to keep on saying Basher, it's a Basher, whatever, don't worry, it'll be Basher. We all, just like when we comes to our parnasa, we don't say that, and we know that we have to put in. Maybe we don't have such big schoolsum, so we have to put in our effort. Same thing when it comes to shalom bayis, to making to make the marriage work, and the same thing it comes to helping people in shidduchim. We have to put in our full ishtadlus. Okay, two more questions. Someone asked about they're getting lessons of music. Are they allowed to do it in the 3 weeks or in the 9 days? The answer is simple. You're not allowed to do simchas nesuyin. So the Mishnah Berurah says you're not allowed to do any music. You're not allowed to have music also, according to Minig Yisrael, on tapes. I have an uncle. They tell me they used to watch. They're balei tshuva. A very choshev, a younger man. He's today a very choshev rov. But anyway, he said Baruch Hashem. He says I don't know. He says. But he says, and his parents knew that in the days of Srida and the 3 weeks, you're not allowed to watch television. So he said, Baruch Hashem for that. Baruch Hashem for that. So he didn't have television in the Srida and in the 3. Anyway,
only the 3 weeks.
The Pri Megadim says that a person that his job is to play klezmer for a goy, Nebach, that's his job. He goes to a bar and he plays music. He plays for the klezmer for the goyim. So this is his parnasa. He's allowed to do it, but not in the 9 days. Some are makel that maybe he's allowed to do it even until the Shavuot Shechol Beit Tisha B'Av. However, the poskim say that's only for the person that needs it for parnasa. But a person who's learning music, you don't need the parnasa. So kedai, just like this. So if you're Ashkenazi, and for Ashkenazim we don't do simcha for all 3 weeks. So Sfaradim only in the 9 days, or maybe in the Shavuot Shechol Beit Tisha B'Av. But for Ashkenazim, that they shouldn't learn music in all 3 weeks. The last question was that a father called me up.
How about a video with music?
No, nish. That Minig Yisrael is not. I'm not saying that Shulchan Aruch is talking about live music, but Minig Yisrael is not to listen to any music on a tape or on a video. Shteitzach, it's not the same chomer as the live music. I'm just saying that's L'Poel Minig Yisrael. Even as I said, even Yidden that are not so I mean, he's not about Shuvah. His parents are frum, but you know, his mother was from Burma. His father, they were not so. But they knew that in the 3 weeks there's no television.
So how do you get to keep busy?
And one more question. Someone called me up, Azoy. His daughter, Dafka, this was someone from Eretz Yisrael. His daughter is going to Lubavitch camp as a counselor, I think it was somewhere in Minnesota. And if camp finishes Reish Chodesh Av, so he's scared she should travel in the 9 days. Because it's brought in the poskim that a person should try to stay out of sakon in the 9 days. If you have a surgery, the Rebbe says not to do it in the 9 days. At least not to do it in the Shavua Shechol B'Tisha B'Av. And if you can, try to postpone it at least till after, if it's Shayach, until after the Tezvav L'Chodesh. The Ben Ish Chai says that even though it says that the whole Chodesh is not so ayayay Chodesh for the Yidden, but after Tisha B'Av it changes. And Befrat, the Ben Ish Chai says in Parshas Devarim, Befrat that we say that there was no bigger Yom Tov than the Chamisha B'Av, and it's a big Ilu L'Shchina, and Mailam B'Kodesh V'Meridin, it doesn't make sense to say that Chamisha B'Av is a big day, and next day already is back. So he says that, okay, so you should try not to do anything that's Sakon in the 9 days, Befrat not in Shavua Shechol B'Tisha B'Av. And if you could avoid anything of Sakon in the 3 weeks B'Klal until so far. So what this question was about flying. So I found that they bring from the Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, who says that Befrat in the 9 days not to fly. Why? Because even though it's a very common thing that people take flights, it's not as serious l'chayr as a surgery. But we make a goimel. That's the minig Yisrael is that we make a goimel.
We're only overseas, not
Okay.
over here in the U.S.
Yeah, so Chabad doesn't, but look, maybe you should. So he says not to. Okay, so whatever you would make a goimel, not to take such a flight.
Well, wait. Chabad, they make a goimel if you
If you fly over the ocean.
Overseas.
But
Except here in the U.S. you fly to L.A. or something.
they don't make a goimel. That's Chabad minig. Okay.
Others do.
Yeah. And others they make any time on the plane. Others don't make any goimel on a plane. So that was his question. His daughter, he told his daughter she should stay and she should stay in Minnesota till after Tisha B'Av. She says, no, if that's okay, I'm charot, I don't want to go to camp. I signed up to be a counselor. Now I have to stay there for an extra 10 days. I don't want to do that. It's not fair. So she's upset. So he called me up. He asked me about this. I found a beautiful thing. Huh?
Rosh Chodesh is Friday. 11
Finish on Friday, you told me.
So I guess the camp needed the girls till the last day. I don't know the Metzias. If they needed her. Adam was the Metzias to give
A
it.
lot of times, second month starts in the middle of the 9 days.
Right. So it was something. Maybe it wasn't the first. It was the second day. It was something in the 9 days. She wanted to fly home in the 9 days, and he said, "You stay a few more days in Minnesota till after." And she was upset about it. So I found in the Sefer Shalmei Moed, bring from Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, mamish the same type of question, that there was someone that was going home to visit his parents. He wanted to come back to yeshiva. He wanted to come back to yeshiva. He wanted to come back already in the 9 days. I mean, usually the yeshivas have off, but whatever. He wanted to come back to be in yeshiva. He wanted to come back from New York. It was in the 9 days. So Reb Shlomo Zalman said that it says Kol HaMahalach Dal Damas B'Eretz Yisrael Muftach L'Shabein Olam Haba. So definitely he said that it's not a problem, and you want to learn Torah, so it's definitely not a problem. So I said, look, if a girl is going to do shlichus mitzvah, to be makarev, to say shluchim mitzvah in zorkan loy ba'alechosam loy b'chazirosam, it's not fair. If you're going to tell kids that they're going to be counselors in camp, that sometimes the first and second month ends up in the 9 days. You're going to tell the counselors that they can't travel. So they're going to think twice or 3 times. I'm not going to travel. I'm going to travel. Their camp is going to finish 2 days in Chodesh Av. I'll be stuck somewhere in Hicksville, USA, for another 7-8 days. I don't want to go. So who's going to lose out of that? The camp.
When does the 9 days start? At Shvi or 6?
That wasn't relevant to this question.
Right,
Say,
yes,
I don't
no,
remember
no.
the details. Say it was Monday. Camp finishes Monday night.
No, I'm asking.
So Mamela, I said that let her go back to Eretz Yisrael and Shalom Al Yisrael. David shall help him that Emetz Hashem we shouldn't come to the 9 days and should be taket this year should be Menachemov, that David should overrachemon should give us the true Nachama of the Bis Mashiach Tzidkeinu.
Amen.